Are the Eagles going to re-sign Miles Sanders after the season is over? He told ESPN that he wants to return to the city of brotherly love. That's what we're talking about on today's show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. And Sanders did say that in a recent article on ESPN that he wants to return to Philadelphia, the team that drafted him back in 2019 in the second round out of Penn State, and he's coming off a career year. We'll explore that, but first, let's get you up to date with the latest Eagles injury report. They just got off the practice field here on Wednesday afternoon at the NovaCare Complex in South Philadelphia, and this is how it reads. Brandon Graham did not participate because of illness, and he was resting. Avonte Maddox looks as though he is not going to play on Saturday against New York because of that lingering toe injury. And then James Bradbury, A.J. Brown, Fletcher Cox, Landon Dickerson, Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, Robert Quinn, Isaac Seumalo, Darius Slay, Josh Sweat, and Linval Joseph, all limited participants, and Linval Joseph actually a full participant. The big name not on that list, it is quarterback Jalen Hurts, who continues to come off that right shoulder sprain. It looks as though he is nearing 100% for this divisional round matchup at Lincoln Financial Field on Saturday night. Now, before we continue to keep it moving and go back to Miles Sanders, what he said, what Howie Roseman and the Eagles might do, make sure you subscribe to the show here. We're closing in on 40,000 subscribers. I'm trying to get there by the end of the game on Saturday night. Make sure you lock us in and subscribe. And if you haven't, you ain't alive. This is why you should join the Fly Eagles Fly family here at Chat Sports. We give you free daily videos covering the latest news, rumors, and analysis. When breaking news happens, we bring it to you instantaneously. We do live shows and watch parties, and we pride ourselves on giving you entertaining, informative content. So if that ain't a good sales pitch, I don't know what is. We appreciate all of you for supporting the show. And if you are subscribed, we want to show you some love back. What are you? Are you subscribed? If you are, that means that you're a real one and you go about your life rooting on the birds on a daily basis. So will the Eagles re-sign Boobie Miles? Sanders set to be a free agent after this year, and he had an awesome 2022, and hopefully that continues in the playoffs here as the calendar year is flipped. Set a career high in rushing yards and touchdowns, and he voiced in this article on ESPN that he wants to return beyond this season. But really what it comes down to, what is his asking price going to be? What does Miles Sanders want on the free agency market? Because we already know what Howie Roseman is thinking. Howie's in his office. He's thinking, Miles, I see what you said on ESPN. We drafted you. We like you. We've seen you develop. You're really good for our locker room culture. All of that is great and all. But the big looming question, what's the price tag? Especially after Miles Sanders had a terrific 2022 regular season, set a career high in rushing yards with more than 1,200, average yards per carry of nearly 5, also set a career mark with touchdowns at 11, had a couple of receiving touchdowns as well on 259 carries. And it was great to see Sanders finally come into his own because we've seen the ability throughout his entire career. He just had to stay healthy. He had to put it together, and he was able to do that here in his fourth season as an Eagle. The top rushers in 2022. Another reason why Sanders might be a little bit too expensive for the Eagles' liking unless he takes that hometown discount. Fifth in the NFL in rushing yards this year behind Josh Jacobs, the rushing champion, Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley. And why Miles Sanders is so impressive with what he was able to do this year, far less carries and utilization as compared to a lot of the other running backs on your screen here. Now, I know a lot of you are a little bit iffy as to whether or not you want to bring back Miles Sanders, because I've seen the comment section. I've seen a lot of people not be all in on Sanders, but there are advantages of signing him, and you can see why Philadelphia would like to retain him. He's still really young. 4 seasons into the league, he's still only 25 years old, and the workload isn't all that much with 739 carries. That's really important for a guy who you might give $10+ million to, because you know he is going to age pretty well given the lack of carries, not a monster workload, and his age at 25. Other reasons, familiarity with the scheme. He shouldn't cost an exorbitant amount as compared to maybe a guy like Josh Jacobs, who is the NFL rushing leader here. And lastly, he's a really talented running back. He could have done far more damage if the Eagles gave him the football a little bit more. They decided to chuck it a little bit more than last year because of the growth of Jalen Hurts and the acquisition of A.J. Brown and the continued development of Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. So we're going to open up the floor here and open up the comment section. I want to see where people are at here. Should the Birds re-sign Boobie Miles? S for sign, P for pass. Let us know once more down in the comment section. Highest paid running backs in terms of average annual value. These are what these running backs are making per year and or what the contracts average out to be. And this is something in the neighborhood of what Miles Sanders might ask for. And you have to keep in mind that the salary cap in the NFL with these new television deals does continue to increase. And with that in turn, player contracts increase, and a running back very well could reset the market like, again, Josh Jacobs. Christian McCaffrey, highest paid running back in the NFL, average annual value at $16 million. No way Miles Sanders gets that, in my opinion, nor would I pay it because I think running backs are somewhat expendable. Alvin Kamara, $15 million even, as well as Ezekiel Elliott. The range where I think Sanders falls is somewhere between 10 to 12, 10 to $13 million to get into that Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry territory. He's not the running back of Derrick Henry. Henry did take a pay cut. Henry's also a little bit older as compared to Miles Sanders, and the utilization for him a lot greater than number 26. For me, because I think running backs are somewhat expendable, and because you can find really good backs in the draft for cheaper, as well as in free agency, guys later in the draft can even be plug-and-play guys. I don't know if I would go past $10 million. Maybe I would go to 11 or 12. Probably not more than that, and I don't know if Howie Roseman would do that because he sees the running back position in a way that I do. There are other positions on the field that are more important, that are more valuable, that you kind of save that money for. Offensive tackle, defensive end, even safety has become important. Cornerback, wide receiver. All those positions a little bit more valuable than running back, but certainly an interesting conversation. A reminder for a programming alert, we will be live on Saturday night for our Eagles-Giants watch party. Our pregame show begins an hour before kickoff at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:15 p.m. Pacific. Again, another reason to subscribe, turn on those noties as well. Therefore, when we push out a video or we do go live, you will be notified. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the Giant Killer. Do you know who we're talking about? It's number 35. That's coming up right around the corner. First, though, do want to give a shout-out to today's sponsor, Rocket Money. And here on Eagles Now, we want to help you out by giving you great Eagles content. We also want to help you out in saving your money and optimizing your finances. And that's what Rocket Money is able to do. By using this app, you're able to save money on a monthly and yearly basis and cancel unnecessary subscriptions you didn't even know you were paying for. Because, do you know how much your subscriptions really cost? Most Americans think they spend about $80 per month on them when the actual total cost closer to $200 or more. You could be wasting hundreds of dollars each month and every year on subscriptions you don't want, you don't need, and lastly, you don't even know about. Rocket Money shows you all of your subscriptions in one place, cancels for you whatever you don't still want, and they even find subscriptions you didn't know you were paying for. You may even find out you've been double charged for one. And to cancel it, it's very easy. They show them all to you on your screen, and you just hit that cancel button. Get rid of those useless subscriptions with Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill Now, by heading to rocketmoney.com/Eagles Now. Seriously, it could save you hundreds of dollars per year. To the Giant Killer, the real ones know, we're talking about Boston Scott here. It's wild how well Boston Scott has played in his career against the New York Football Giants. 17 career touchdowns for him. 10 of them have come against New York. And Don Wink Martindale was asked about him being a giant killer, and he kind of played it down as the best defensive coordinator, or at least one of the best in the NFL, by saying, I don't think he's a giant killer. He's just a really good running back. And he is. He's not a number one back by any means. He is a very good change of pace back who can catch the ball out of the backfield, kind of hide behind some of the big bodies along that line of scrimmage, and because of that, able to find running lanes and find space to pick up some of those big chunk yards. And I will say this about this Giants defense. They are a different defensive unit than they were when the Eagles played them in Week 18 as well as in Week 14. They've made some adjustments along the way, and that's what good defensive coordinators do. That's what quality defenses do. And I'll say as a whole, this is a different Giants team because after going on the road, beating the 3-seeded Vikings, they just have a little bit more confidence, and they're playing with house money right now. And if they pull off another upset, my goodness, it would be a huge win for that franchise, for Brian Daboll, who's given a lot of people Bill Parcells type of vibes, and a lot of people should be concerned about him continuing to be the coach of this football team because I believe he is a huge keeper. I understand that the Eagles have dominated the Giants in recent time with this rivalry, one of the best in the NFL. It's certainly a hostile and physical one. 9 straight wins for Philadelphia at home against the Giants. The Philadelphia Eagles also in their last 18 games against New York, 15-3 in those matchups, including a 2-0 record this year. It's going to be a dogfight, though, because the playoff pace and style is a little bit different as compared to the regular season, and this is an Eagles offense that kind of has struggled going up against teams for the second time in a season, let alone 3 times in a single season. So I hate the New York Giants. I can't stand them. Them beating the Patriots back in the day with Eli Manning made me sick. Their fan base makes me sick. I hate their ugly blue uniforms. I hate this damn logo right here. So if you hate the Giants and you're with me, type FNY in the chat right now. Let's round out with some more injury news. So we talked about the full injury report. As for Jalen Hurts, not on it as we talked about earlier. He was actually a full participant on Tuesday and Wednesday. That bodes really well for him as we move forward. Lane Johnson, seen moving very well during practice. The Eagles, in games that he does not play in his career, 13-22. And when you're without the best right tackle in the game, your offense suffers, both through the air and on the ground. He plays, Jalen Hurts plays. That's why I like Philadelphia to take this football game on Saturday night. Another reminder, going live for our watch party Saturday night, 7:15 p.m. Eastern, 4:15 p.m. Pacific. I struggle to really say that because the 15s are just throwing me off. You know what I'm not going to struggle with? Our watch party on Saturday. It's going to be a party. It's going to be a blast. It'll be the best atmosphere outside of being at Lincoln Financial Field or at Xfinity Live. So lock us in, turn on those noties, subscribe, and join us.